Is a trophy buck born predestined for big antlers, or can we build them with the right strategy? The debate about genetics, age, and nutrition has been going on for years, but today we're breaking it all down. If you want to know what really helps a buck reach its full potential and what you can do to grow bigger bucks in your area, stick around. So this is the part where I'm supposed to drag it out and hold your attention and keep you guessing until the end of the video, but let's be real. Genetics is king. But here's the plot twist and the good news for you and me. Potential doesn't always equal performance. Genetic expression is really where you and me come into play. A buck's genetic potential is a mixture of 50% from his mom, 50% from his dad, and then all the nutrition he gets when he's in his mother's womb before he hits the ground. A buck's genetic potential is set in stone the moment he hits the ground. A buck's genetic expression is what you actually see on his head. That's determined by a number of factors, including nutrition, environment, and stress. All three of these can be hard to actually get to an optimum place. Nutrition is tough. If you don't have natural nutrition around for them, or you can't create some sort of spring, summer, and then obviously fall food plots that are beneficial to them, then nutrition is going to be lacking. Environment leans more into their bedding, their cover. You know, is it a place that bucks actually want to grow their antlers? Is it a place where does live during the winter months when bucks are out there chasing them? And then stress, obviously, you and I can control that, but it's tough on a lease. We have 10 guys in our lease, and it's just tough to keep stress levels down because I want to be hunting and you want to be hunting. So the more we bump deer, the more they see different deer die in the food plot and they're standing on the edge. Well, there's a lower chance every time that happens of them walking out. So getting those three things to an optimal level can be very, very challenging, and I'm not even sure it's possible in a free range environment. But every effort you make to increase nutrition, to better their environment, to lower stress, will only be rewarded with better genetic expression of your bucks on your property. One thing I like to think about is, let's say a buck escaped a high fence around us and found our property. Do we have the things necessary for him to feel like he can make that place home? Do we have enough feed? Do we have enough cover? Is the stress level low? Do we have the does that he will need to be able to chase and then breed for the rut? You and I can't actually raise a trophy buck. What we can do is we can create an environment that one wants to live in. I used to tell people that we have poor genetics, and honestly, I don't believe that anymore. You may tell people you have poor genetics on your property. More than likely, you don't have poor genetics. You have poor external factors on your property that are limiting the genetic expression of your bucks. Let's talk about something you and I have a little bit more control over than genetics, where we don't have any whatsoever, and that's age. I can decide that I'm not gonna shoot a deer, and that's all I can do. I can't make you not shoot a deer. You can't make me not shoot a deer. We always talk about the neighbors, whether what they're killing or what they aren't killing, and I do feel like a lot of the times we can point the finger back at ourselves because we are the neighbor to someone else. The most you can do in terms of getting deer to an older age is don't shoot them when they're young. Studies from Mississippi State say that at 4 years old, a buck's only at 50 to 70% of his peak antler production. What you should or maybe shouldn't be shooting on your property, and we're talking about, is our bucks born or built? And I would say that the best way to find out is to get a buck to full maturity. You know, get a buck to 6, 7 years old, see what he looks like on your property. It's gonna be different on your property than my property. That's why I'm not gonna tell you what you should shoot. And you know, nobody knows my property like me. So I need to be making educated decisions on what we're trying to hunt and what we're trying to pass on. Age is a little bit more controllable than genetics because you can decide as a hunter, I'm not gonna shoot this deer. Younger bucks get shot every single year because guys are so focused on antlers instead of maturity. Now, no matter where you stand on the trophy hunting versus meat hunting argument, I don't care. You hunt the way you wanna hunt, you aren't affecting me whatsoever. But if you're trying to grow bigger, better bucks, you have to at some point shift from only looking at the antlers to looking at the body and trying to age a deer. The best time for you to do that is in the summer. when they're in bachelor groups, when you're seeing multiple deer at a feed station. If you're feeding in July, let's say, you got 5, 6 bucks out around a feeder, you should be able to look around and go, okay, well, this is maybe a 1-year-old, this could be a 2-year-old, 3, 4. You work your way up and you go, man, that is a buck that's older than 5 years old. That's something that we want to chase. That's something that he's reached peak maturity. Let's try and hunt this deer. Maturity is going to look different on each of our properties. I think one of the great things about me making these videos is I'm probably hunting smaller deer than most of y'all. When I talk about wanting to hunt a mature buck versus one that's maybe 3 years old that might be prettier with antler size, y'all get that. Y'all probably have bigger deer than I do, and that's awesome. Like, good for you. Figuring out what maturity looks like on your property is the first step in you really creating a great game plan to get more of your bucks to full maturity and to see some of those really pretty 3, 4-year-olds get bigger than what you've been used to seeing in the past. Maturity on your property might be 95 inches. There's bucks that I've harvested, dude, they probably weren't 70 inches, but they were old, blind in one eye, Roman nose, huge hump in their back, brisket hanging between their chests. You start to look through these characteristics and you go, man, for me, there's a lot of reward in hunting these bucks that have reached the end of their life. They've won all the battles. You know, this buck gets to 7, 8 years old. There's no telling how many encounters he's had with hunters, and he's won the game. He's gone downhill. Maybe he's 60, 70 inches, he looks like this. I mean, we all have them on our property. Antlers will come and go, but age really is the gatekeeper to bigger, better bucks. In a quality environment, antler production should increase drastically every single year until about 6 years old. So protecting your young bucks is the most effective single method to you improving antler size on your property. Now we're getting into something we can actually control. Nutrition. If you want to improve the nutrition on your property right now, today, you can go buy a bag of feed and put it out.
Depending on how far away you are from your property.
But nutrition is so much more than just feed. We're talking about food plots, environment. We're talking about, obviously, feeding, but some sort of supplemental game plan to help get quality nutrition to your herd in the times of the year when they need it most. Late winter, moving into spring, definitely summer, when their bodies are going through rapid change, when does are growing fawns, when those genetic potential is being set in stone like we talked about earlier, when they're forming in their mother's womb, when bucks are dropping antlers and they're beginning to regrow new ones. This is the critical time on the calendar for you to be getting quality nutrition to your herd every way possible. We talk so much about bucks, and even in the titles of these videos, we try and put bucks in it so that more people see it, because nobody is searching for does. But the doe really holds the potential for that buck in her stomach when she's growing it. So getting quality nutrition to that doe, when the epigenetic switches are being turned on or turned off, they're being activated or suppressed. This is such a huge critical time for the future of your property. 4 or 5 years down the road, you should be seeing bigger, better bucks than you've ever seen, but that starts with the doe. If you're only feeding in the fall, you're missing such a huge opportunity with the late winter, spring, and summer when it comes to the health of your herd. The time on the calendar to get that excess nutrition to your deer is the spring and summer. Even though we want to put the feed out in the fall and winter and hunt over it, spring and summer is where you can really change the game on your property. There's been many studies that prove just that. Getting extra nutrition to your deer during the growing months on the calendar will produce bigger, better bucks this year and over time. A specific study out of Texas fed 16% protein in one pen, 8% in another pen, and saw a 20-inch difference in deer over 4 years. I don't know about you, but 20 inches would be massive for me. So let's tie this all together. Let's get a good understanding of genetics, age, and nutrition, and the role that we can play as land managers, as hunters, and what we can do to affect it. I would say a good 3-step process to use in trying to understand all this and apply it to your property would be, number 1, identify your ceiling. So figure out what a mature buck looks like on your property. Number 2, build the environment. Build something that a big buck would want to live in. You know, whether that is food plots, mineral, cover, low stress, water. everything that goes into making your property a destination for deer, build that environment that they would want to come into and stay. And then number 3, give them time. So this is going to require passing bucks. This is going to require you to log some data and see what your progress is when it comes to, body weights especially, and then obviously antler growth. But give bucks time. When you start this process, when you start to invest into your property, track the growth. It's not going to be a straight line up. Like, it's going to take time for you to build something and to see really trackable growth on your property, but it's worth it. One easy way for you to look at it would be to imagine a pyramid of things that you can control the most versus things that you can control the least. So at the top, with the least amount of control, would be genetics. Under that would be age, and then the very bottom would be nutrition, because obviously, if you want to put a bag of feed out today, you can go buy it and do it. But understanding the role that you play in this whole process is going to be key in you trying to improve your property to make it a destination for bigger bucks. You can't shortcut maturity. There's no way to get a buck to full maturity quicker. It's going to take him 4 years to grow his skeletal system. It's going to take him, maybe a year, 2 years after that before he reaches peak antler production in most cases. You cannot shortcut that, but you can expedite growth on your property. If you see your biggest, best bucks are your younger deer, your 3-year-olds, man, you have an incredibly bright future ahead of you. I truly believe that no matter where you hunt in any region of the country, the genetics you have are enough for you to grow bucks that you would be proud of harvesting. Maybe you're proud of harvesting the ones you have right now. I am on our property, and that's 120-inch deer. There's reward at the end of all of your effort. I've never felt like I wasted time, energy, or money investing into our deer property, because the memories that are made, the stories we have to tell, and then what we get to hang up on our wall at the end of the day. So to answer the question at the beginning of this video, are big bucks born or are they built? Yes, they're born with potential, but they're built through execution. Make a plan, work the plan. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click this one.